What's up, Chief? Said Mammoth in the hairy elephant-looking weird business that's going on.
What on
Mammoth
earth was that?
I don't know,
That one
man.
fell flat, I think.
Fell flat. Kind of like Mammoth is like frozen and done and not existent anymore. Kind of like my career after that one. So
Yeah, they found mammoth fossils in Russia.
Man, I can't wait to see who the host of next season is going to
Hey,
be.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DoorDash LCO with a proper introduction as we get into game number 3. Mammoths and Chiefs going head-to-head. It's going to be a damn fun time. Mammoth, of course, cannot make the playoffs anymore, so they're here to crush the Chiefs' dreams. But can they do it? That's the real question, Rusty.
Absolutely, that's the real question. It's saying that. Is it a question of can they do it opposed to will they do it? Because I don't think that Mammoth, with their recent form, have shown me enough improvements to be confident. I do believe that Mammoth have potential, and I was watching last week's games and I was tweeting about this as well, but like, there's moments of brilliance in this team, but they are really just drops in the ocean overall, and it's never been enough for me to say I've seen Mammoth improve to a point where I would ever tip them, for example, or consistent enough to say that they can win, even though they can win every single game if they play it correctly.
I really, really hope that they can get another couple of wins on the board before the season's done, but they don't have too many more days to do it. So I think Chiefs is a big ask. Now, Jordan Chiefs, they've been doing pretty well. They've been looking a little bit rocky, but did we see them hit the form we were expecting on Friday?
They definitely did play a little bit better against Peace, but it is a piece that is sort of, again, a bit up in the air. So I don't know that I'm really sold just yet. I think Chiefs obviously did look really good at the start of the split, have slowed down quite substantially. My main takeaway for the Chiefs is that if they're going to be a grand finalist or if they're going to look towards winning this split, we're going to need to see them look a little bit better than they have in the last couple of weeks. I think that for me is the main takeaway at the moment. It's not quite there yet, really, for the Chiefs. We're not at peak Chiefs, but hopefully we're going to be able to sort of get there over the next few weeks before we do jump into playoffs. I mean, this should be a pretty good game for the Chiefs, right? Up against Mammoth, they've had some pretty good times in the past against Mammoth, and it should be a nice ease into maybe some more difficult matches later on this week and then next week as well.
Yeah, you could say that, but then at the same time, Mammoth, now they've literally got nothing to lose, so you can lean on that storyline a bit, and we could see them maybe pop the hell off if that's a situation that we could see. Maybe if Wei gets something that he feels good on in mid lane. He seems to be a target focus and like a win condition for so many other teams. It's just like shut down Wei and we have a pretty damn good chance of winning the game. And that seems to be a consistent factor.
That worked for Order.
It did. It was just like, look, let's just abuse him in mid and then he'll tilt and then game's lost, right? Well, let's see if that is what is going to be the strategy as we bring Nat back to the conversation. She's got two individuals down on the sidelines to have a quick chat to.
I do. I'm going to be joined by Draku and Wei. Thank you both so much for joining me. Draku, I want to start with you, and I want to ask, how are Chiefs feeling coming into this week after losing a game last week in the Super Week?
Well, I guess we're just working on ourselves. We're obviously not happy because we want to win every game, but like losing isn't a bad thing. But yeah, we're glad that we just beat Peace. So yeah.
What was your main takeaway from last week then in terms of trying to improve?
Okay, I think we just got outdrafted pretty hard, like Braum blind pick, and then we got Zillion. And I guess PGG just like stomped us, so yeah.
Well, speaking of draft, Wei, over on Mammoth, we now know that you guys won't be able to make it to playoffs. So does that mean that we are going to be seeing something, I don't know, exciting, new, fresh from you guys?
Yeah, we could. I mean, even last week, even though it wasn't the intention to pick Sion, we just had to adapt with our draft, so we still were able to pick something interesting. So maybe we can repeat what happened to last week.
I look forward to it. But what do you think has been the biggest improvement for Mammoth so far this split?
I think just like everyone individually is like just like improving. So it's like it just means like people are usually getting better at lane.
Yeah, we have seen a really big improvement from you guys. But what do you think is going to be the key for you to potentially win the game against Chiefs tonight?
Honestly, just relax, just have some fun, play some League of Legends.
I look forward to that. And Draco, what do you think is going to be your key or your advantage to potentially taking the game tonight?
We just have to play normal, I guess. Just don't do anything special. Just play textbook League, and we should win.
Well, I look forward to seeing what style's going to win, the relaxed or, I guess, the normal style. But thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck tonight.
Bye.
I think they're just keeping, their poker faces on for the moment, because I think this is going to be another one of those explosive, lots of kill games. They didn't do a very good job of hyping this one up, so I will, I'm expecting this to be a bloody bloodbath. It's going to be gladiators in the Rift. It's actually going to be champions, not gladiators. That's the term that Riot would prefer us to use, so I'll use that instead. However, let's talk about predictions here first. And I'm going with Twitch chat. Let's see which way Twitch chat's going to go. Any type 1 in chat if you are going to put your points on Mammoth. Type 2 in chat if you're going to put them on Chiefs. Now, looks like Rusty's put his points on Chiefs here. Looking for 50 Ws after this one. So isn't that a nice little achievement, hitting 50
nice.
this early?
They go for the half century. I don't think this even compares to last split just because there is 3 extra weeks of games, I think. But either way, it'd be nice to stay on top with the 50 Mac.
Yeah, and if we jump onto the second page as well, we've got everyone on Chiefs. So, Jordan, why have you gone for the Chiefs here?
Why wouldn't you go for the Chiefs?
Great
would be the
answer.
question that I would ask you.
I'll ask Nat the same question.
Look, I mean, it is a little bit of a no-brainer to be going for Chiefs here. But I think you pick Chiefs knowing that they're going to win, but you want it to be in the mindset that Mammoth are going to pull out something no one's seen yet, right? Like, I want them to play their weird and wacky Mammoth meta that we have seen win them games in the past, or at least put up a big fight.
Well, not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. We're already in the game. Champ Select, it's ready. Ladies and gents, buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a fun one.
Well, let's jump into it. Hopefully it's going to be able to deliver even half of what the last game did. Although I do sometimes think maybe I'd prefer it if it didn't, because my voice is already starting to hurt a little bit. But anyway, let's see what the Chiefs and Mammoth can show us. We've got 3 support bans from the Chiefs. I guess one of them, or 2 of them, are sort of flex kind of bans. But even still, definitely don't want to be seeing anything down in that bot lane from the Chiefs. So I'm interested to see what they're going to throw in here.
Yeah, I think Chiefs choosing blue this time around as well. I think that's a good decision against Mammoth because you don't want to give them the first pick Gwen. In fact, it actually forces that ban away from Swaith. So Nectar not going to get his comfort zone champion. Viego being picked up is obviously going to be a pretty big one. And it's interesting because we are seeing what I would coin as like the gravitas bans on blue side here, prioritizing the Karma and the Lulu. But I guess when you've got Gudo, you've got the Xin Zhao composition and players, it does make sense that you would want to have Wei on a Lulu or a Karma to enable that one. But not going to be the case. We are going to go back to I would say the tried and tested Ziggs, but not always massively successful. But we are going to see that again today.
Yeah, and what's actually interesting about this pick for Mammoth is that when we have seen the Ziggs for them, it's actually gone into the mid lane.
Okay.
It's actually been Wei that's picked it up.
I mean, the first 3 picks here, Jordan, I'm just throwing it out there for the Chiefs. That's terrifying. Yeah. I think that basically confirms the lanes that they're all going in. Lived is playing Tom Kench, Swaith, Evelyn. You've got Kiseo, Viego. So yes, you have the luxury of being on red side and having the counters.
Are there counters though? Like, okay, what is the counter to Tom at the moment? Because that champion just seems like you can't really beat him.
Yeah, going next extremely fast is what I do. It's torturous dealing with Tom Kench right now. Maybe Vayne? Maybe Vayne?
Actually, might not be the worst thing in the world if you've got a Ziggs that's going to go down
Probably
bot.
still get soloed, man. You'd scale.
If you dodge the tongue.
And the W.
Well, that's true.
And don't get autoed 3 times. You see how, I think it should be Vayne, but then I think TK wins that. So
What about Draven top?
No, absolutely not. Again, the W changes are insane. Maybe what it is Morgana top, because then he just can't touch you and you just W max on minions.
But
Don't
then
interact.
is he not going to still be a bit more of a threat come late game than what Morgana top?
Oh,
would
for
be?
sure. But like,
So you still don't win. Like, I don't know. We'll see what
something
the option
exists.
is.
Something has to exist. Surely we'll find out what Mammoth choose to go for. But
Serpent's
nevertheless,
Fang. Everyone's just got to buy Serpent's Fang, and then you might be able to win. Even Ziggs buys Serpent's Fang, and we might have a chance. Anyway, let's see what we do get through here actually, because Mammoth are about to pick whether it's for top or for mid or for bot. We still don't really know. I'd be looking for the top pick here, just because that obviously gives you the mid counter pick or the bot counter pick later on. Although I guess we know Viego's going into mid as well, so maybe that's a moot point.
Varus. So that would, of course, put the Ziggs in mid lane, unless, of course, they want to go for a Varus mid lane. I would expect Ziggs makes more sense there. Top lane is obviously that one question mark that we did have for them. But that is a fully revealed bottom lane here from Mammoth that Chiefs get a complete counter to. So this is one of those worlds where, like, center is banned, but you get your Heimerdinger compositions. If you've revealed everything, Heimerdinger perhaps okay into Nautilus. But I don't know if that's the direction Chiefs would willingly choose to go.
Oh, Siva. You know, I don't mind Siva actually into the Varus.
Do you think he's listening? Siva's good. I don't mind Siva at all. I think that Varus handles it fine, to be honest. It just does remove a lot of, like, a Nautilus hook being the one form of engage that Nautilus has pre-6. It gives you a bit of freedom in laning phase, and we've seen Direwolves do this as well, Jordan, right? Where they just put the AD carry on an island, isolate the 1v1, and move the support around the map. As I'm guessing that's the support.
Yeah, I guess. Unless it's Tarm support, which could be a Dragu angle, LeBlanc mid, Viego top. What about that?
I don't know if Tahm Kench should ever be a support anymore.
But if there's one person that's going to pull it out,
Absolutely
it is going to be
correct.
Dragu.
Yeah. But if there's one person, it also would pull out a LeBlanc, right? So I think you're probably closer to correct, given that Kisei is more of a LeBlanc player.
Yeah. And also, I'm not sure that LeBlanc into Varus and Nautilus would be a particularly fun lane to begin with. So it does look like Dragu is going to be taking Tahm Kench into the bot lane. So there you go. Interesting stuff. I mean, kind of had us bamboozled for the majority of that draft, the Chiefs did. And I suppose Mammoth might have been a little bit confused until these... well, even now, like, they don't even really necessarily know, do they? Unless they get to see Dragu's position in the draft, don't they? So they would know that it's going down to support.
So for what it's worth, because we have to talk about this now, Tahm Kench support is fundamentally changed, given that the reason it used to be good is because you had the Devour, right?
Yeah.
So you'd be able to save someone from a Varus ult, from a Nautilus ultimate or hook, and keep them safe and keep them protected. You still have that at 6, and it also gives a shield, so there is some merit to that trading. But the major difference is in the way that you actually play the lane. I think that Tahm Kench is much more aggressive now and does a little bit more damage overall. So it can be pretty potent 2v2. I'm used to seeing a top at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be too bad into a Nautilus. I think where he really does struggle is like those poke-heavy kind of lanes. But this, I mean, I guess you do have a Varus to deal with, but I'm not sure that's enough to really trouble the Tahm Kench, to be honest. So I think he'll be able to do a fair bit of work actually in this bot lane position, and hopefully he'll be able to have some impact around the map. That's obviously something that we always look to when we're talking about Dragu. What kind of roams can he get off, and you know how Mboma's quite self-sufficient down in that bot lane. So I think with a support like Tahm Kench, you know, there are a lot of roam opportunities, jumping out of bushes here and there and using that W to close the gap. So I can see it working. Like, I don't hate the pick here, to be honest. And even if it was maybe just to take it away from Mammoth, I think it actually works out pretty comfortably for the Chiefs here, to be honest.
I mean, sure, but at the same time, like, it's clearly intentional from the Chiefs because Lived can play it. So either way, they've got the priority pick of the Tahm Kench. Their overall composition is still very dangerous to deal with. Evelyn has free setup in both solo lanes and in bottom lane as well. Looking at the Mammoth side of the coin here, they have a pretty standard overall composition, so there's not crazy amounts to speak towards. Not too familiar with how Xin Zhao goes into an Evelyn, but I suspect that top will just try and farm as per normal, has the grasp, mid will be farming, and bot has the most kill threat.
All right, Rossi, we've got a lot of questions, and I have the man with all of the answers. Kuden is ready for his interview. So, Kuden, how are you? How you doing?
Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up?
All right. Well, okay. Tell us. Time Kench in the bot lane. Now, most people have not been playing him in the bot lane. Most people have been thinking that maybe he's dead in support. What do you think?
I think he's decent bot lane, and also we've got Chief Draku as well. Chief Draku used to be the best top laner, so he's also Draku's also the best support. He can play any champion in the game, make it work. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
but he's decent bot though. But he's also strong top, so yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Was it always intended to be a support Time, or was it potentially going to go into the top lane depending on the draft?
He could have gone anywhere. Could have gone jungle, maybe mid, ADC. We're flexible.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah, put it in the ADC role next time, and that'll be sick. Anyways, I did want to ask you about last week as well. You know, obviously a 1-2 week for yourselves. Are you and the boys kind of happy with how things are panning out at the moment, or is there still more work to be done?
Ever since we replaced the coach, like pretty much when we went before Peace game, we like after the 0-2 first 2 losses, we replaced the coach. But I'm from another timeline, but anyway, we replaced the coach. Feeling much better now. I think we got, like I said last week, we're gonna go up from here. Stack area.
Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Tell me about this week, Mammoth and Legacy. I think it looks like a relatively straightforward week for you guys. You feel like this one's kind of in the bag?
Yeah, we're just chilling until next week. I don't like. I think this is this patch in particular. I think it's like the worst one for us. No cap, copium. No, seriously, we had to play like super weak on this patch. But I think next patch is much better. Read the buffs and you know why. You know why next patch is gonna be our patch, the playoffs patch.
I'll make sure to do that. And I'm actually looking forward to it.
11.15. You should actually read it.
11.15 the Chiefs patch.
You see why
Yeah, awesome.
we'll win instantly.
I'm sure the other teams will read it and weep. Last question before we let you go. You're looking pretty comfortable at the moment to make playoffs, but come playoffs, who do you think is actually going to be the biggest threat, or who feels like the biggest threat at the moment for the Chiefs? Or, you know, is there even a threat, you know, because I know you guys are probably the best team in the league.
We're not even looking. We're not even looking at anyone from us. I'm scouting like LCO. I'm preparing for like other teams from other regions right now.
You're preparing for Worlds?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, Kuden, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure as always, and best of luck in this game.
I'm gonna head out.
All right. Rusty, what on earth? What on earth just happened?
I mean, Kuden from a different timeline is certainly something that I wasn't prepared for.
He's from the Avengers, man. It's the parallels. It keeps working.
I mean, that's what we have to get used to. He's clearly been watching Loki. You've missed a pretty hectic level 1, is what I would say from all of this. We'll get a replay of it, but you know it's bad when a Nautilus isn't hooking an enemy, because he's not going to have Aftershock, so he's irrelevant. And the trade was lost before it started. Literally, the entire Chiefs roster was like, all right, flash forwards, we're committed at all costs. It starts with a double kill as well for Mboma, so really we don't have an opportunity to discuss in any detail the dynamics of the 2v2 in bot to any great level once the reset comes across from Mboma, because he's got a free 600 gold to start the game, and it's going to be very comfortable regardless of who his support is.
Yeah. That's actually, I want to say it's like almost the perfect situation to have a Tahm Kench support there as well, because when Mammoth is on the run, you just don't escape Tahm, as long as he's hitting your tongues. And even sometimes when he doesn't hit the tongue, you still can't run away from him. So as soon as Mammoth decided to try and escape, they were pretty donezo. So a 2-0 start, fantastic stuff for the Chiefs. They'll be feeling confident. Kuden will be absolutely joyous, pumped, excited, hyped as he watches that one on the stream. And let's see how things do pan on out in the mid lane. Obviously, Teleport invested early on in the piece here for Wei. He does go back to get the Lost Chapter early on in the piece, which is probably customary at this point, given Ziggs has obviously got those early mana issues with the patch. But overall, you know, it's not the biggest thing in the world. You can generally expect that Teleport won't have too much of an impact that early on in the piece anyway.
Pretty early Lost Chapter there as well. You have to farm pretty well to get that one early. Do you know what his secondary runes are? Out of
I
curiosity?
can have a look.
I wonder if he subscribes to the Church of LS, that's all.
We have Futures Market.
Yeah, Futures
Cosmic
Market.
Insight.
So that's exactly correct. So the reason he's able to go back for an early Lost Chapter is because he starts with Mana Crystal, gets all of the farm early, is able to go back to base and, you know, borrow from the bank to get an early Futures. But top lane,
Well, Swathe does manage to hit the charm, but there's really nothing doing when Nectar is safe underneath his tower. Liv might be given the opportunity for a pretty free reset. Kisei could be in a spot of bother though. He doesn't really have anywhere
Oh,
to
the Q
go.
missed.
He just survives. Wei doesn't connect the bomb, and that is that. Well, now we have Dragu down in the bot lane trying to get something going.
Kisei dies.
All those tongues onto Shinky and Boma, firing the boomerangs through. Both bot laners will be able to walk away relatively safely. As you mentioned, Kisei did die in mid. That was to Kudo. Kill over to the jungle of Mammoth.
I'm going to take a stab at what happens. He dashes to a minion, W flashes to execute. No idea. Bot lane, the fight that we saw as well, you can see what happens when there's so much threat from a Sivir. I think there's a world where if that was an even kill fight, then there is a real chance that Frost and Shinky come out on top. We'll get to see what happens mid here as well. Kisei, I mean, the Q just misses. It was so close.
It happens, to be honest. Like,
Nailed it. That's why he's an analyst.
Yeah, that was nice from Kudo. I think the Ziggs Q is actually one of the more difficult skill shots to hit sometimes.
Yo,
It's just a weird one.
You feel like when you verse a good one, it's like a Xerath, right? You verse a good Xerath, you're like, how are they hitting all of these? And then you throw them and constantly miss them because people dodge. It's one of those things. I think the Ziggs definitely fits a similar path because you can hit the first Q, but that's difficult. You can hit the follow-up bounces, but they have time to dodge. That's really the dynamic of Ziggs.
Yeah.
But was very close to a solo.
Indeed. Still, those are the small things, the 1%ers that can really make the difference. And at the moment, Mammoth really needs to be winning some of those. Unfortunately, they're not. Dragu gets the slow onto Wei, forces the flash because the chains were there from Kisei. And, I mean, on all parts of the map, it seems like it's difficult going at the moment for Mammoth.
And it doesn't get too much easier because this just plays into the play style of the Chiefs and the composition they've got for it as well. Sivir, very sufficient, highlighted her strengths already. Top being pressured by the Evelyn is going to get even worse at the level 6 point for Swathe. And the freedom from Dragu, you know, with that W, his ability to gank lanes, particularly someone like Wei who has no flash, is devastating. And you couple that with an Evelyn, I mean, it's just lights out, and Swathe already looking.
Not going to get much there. Oh, never mind, he flashes forward, gets the charm. Kisei knows that there's no flash for Wei. I mean, it was a nice disengage initially from Wei, but just can't get far enough.
No flash, no real way out there. Well played from Swathe, well followed up from Kisei, and the ultimate still exists for Eve, so that type of play can 100% happen again, and it can happen straight away in mid lane after the blue buff perhaps is secured from a flank, and then it's just terrible. It's just terrible time being in mid.
They're going to be quite eager to start farming Wei over and over and over again because there's 2 Dark Seals already picked up for the Chiefs. They're feeling confident in this match. Both Swathe and Kisei have gone into that item, and so they'll be looking to farm up a absolute storm. Now we do have Frost's isolated down in the bot lane, and I don't know that he's going to get out of this one alive, and Boma connects with the Boomerang Blade. And now might turn his attention towards Shinky. We'll need to be a little bit aware because Kudo is hanging around. Dragu will be the focus of fire, but with a teleport coming through from Kisei, the Chiefs will definitely be winning this fight and forcing Mammoth back away again. And Boma will look for some turret plates. Mega Inferno Bomb clears out the wave in top.
Yeah, forcing a push. That Ziggs ultimate was used literally to crash the minions, just to make life a bit easier for Nectar. Wei dead.
Wei is dead, and that's a couple more Dark Seal stacks. Goes the way of Swathe, he's up to 4. Kisei on 2. Might be something we'll see more and more often.
Yeah, I mean, we see the first kill happen. We see the flash get used by Wei minutes before, and this kind of writes itself, you know, as a play style. And unfortunately for Wei, the question remains, what do you actually do to not die in these situations? If you have to walk top to ult to help it, you're kind of sacrificing a bit of your own priority as a result, and they find a flank angle on you. You don't get to leave your tower. And even at this point, you know, a 0-3 Ziggs, I don't think you get to survive under your tower. If they want to kill you, you die.
One of the troubles of playing Ziggs mid, I suppose. 3-0 and 0 for Mboma. And has finished off the Duskblade. Very, very early Duskblade to come through for him. Still, gonna need a little bit of help down in the bot lane despite the item difference, and he's gonna get it. Kisei is there. That is a very dead Goodo, who's really out in no man's land. Now the teleport through from Lived, but instantly gonna be caught by the chains of corruption, and then forced away by the depth charge. Overall, again, another favorable situation for the Chiefs, and here might be another one. Swaith has got ultimate available. Wei just cannot get out of here alive. There's no way he escapes.
No, absolutely zero chance. It's just terrible now. Goes from bad to worse. Nectar's going to push a couple waves in and feel pretty happy about that one, but he has to back away because there was an Evelyn on the run, even though he was in base. So we are definitely 11 minutes in, feeling like we're at a critical mass already. Chiefs just a little bit too good.
Yeah, 89% for the Chiefs as far as the Twitch predictions are concerned, and the vast majority, we're very happy to see how this game is going.
Good lord, man. Give him a crumb.
Yeah, you can't get anything really.
Oh, good lord, man.
Poor Wei. Oh, the flash from Kisei is going to be enough. Wei literally just giggling. Like, he's just said, you know what? Sometimes you just got to laugh.
My soul aches. They're diving bottom.
Hang on a second, because there is a push underneath the tower from the Chiefs. Dragku running very fast. He's a fast toad. He's a fast frog. But he doesn't have enough speed. Frost has the damage.
All right, Dragku does die. No flash, so he wasn't going to be able to secure that one, but he was using the Sivert move speed. We'll look at Swaith here. Eve stats coming up. Do they know something we don't? Oh. No, not this time. Spooky Evelyn, though, will continue. And the Dragku, I mean, that was diving between two turrets.
Yeah. That's kind of just the point of the game where you go, all right, well, we're that far ahead that we can start limit testing. And kind of be aiming a little bit. Though you do need to be making sure that you don't throw things away unnecessarily. Obviously, we're not at that point by any means for the Chiefs, but still.
There's only one thing I think that helps Mammoth in this game, and that is changing the draft to have a Snorlax. Jordan? Probably the only angle that I could find here that might help them. Yeah, there's a Snorlax angle in draft for sure.
I was actually telling you, or rather you were telling me that Slowpoke was OP.
Yeah, it's probably not, but I think I'm biased because it's the only one I've played. So that doesn't help my case. I mean, also, I don't want other people to pick it.
It's as good of analysis as any, as far as I'm concerned. Not much going for Mammoth at this point in time. They're down about 4k. Dragon spawning in 30 seconds is going to be a point of priority for the Chiefs. And the only lane that doesn't seem to be struggling incredibly hard is actually the top lane, where Nectar is going okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's stable. I think Nectar actually, lately has been pretty stable overall. He even could have considered using the ultimate there just for a bit of pressure. Why not? One thing that a lot of NAR players do, especially the veteran NAR players, is they will use their ultimate quite liberally to clear waves and to, you know, keep tempo. The cooldown's not crazy because there is so much reliance on timing and setup for it. This is Envision, so they have an opportunity here for a Ziggs ult into some good damage.
Are they going to get there quickly enough, though? Doesn't seem like it. We'll let it go by the wayside for free. Mega Inferno Bomb was on cooldown as well, actually, just by the way. I think that might have been part of the reason it only just came back up. It was like 3 seconds when you were talking about it. So, unfortunately, Wei's going to miss out. We'll survive at least with a nice satchel charge. Doesn't even have to burn flash. That's a win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, he scrapes away. It's not stopping. Goodo considered leaving mid lane, and that is the biggest mistake of his life. This is one of those games where, unironically, the best decision that you could possibly make is to let your mid lane outer turret die. And just accept the reality that at least you'll be able to farm if you're the Ziggs. Doesn't mean that Goodo will get to do anything. It gives way too much priority to Kisei. It is very much like an objectively game-losing strategy. But at least you get to farm because you're not doing that currently.
Well, the Mega Inferno Bomb was invested to just clear the wave out, so that's on cooldown again for Wei, and Swaith is pretty close by. Will be spotted out by the pink ward if he paths down in that direction. Oh, they're just like predators hunting. Where does Wei go? He's stuck. He's trapped. The flash over the wall on top of his own minefield to the relative safety of the control ward. And now the cavalry arrives for both sides, in fact. Dragku, that might have been a bit of an int, but is there enough from the rest of the team? No, is the answer. So he dies. That's all 5 members of Mammoth grouped together, 3 on 5, and they get themselves a kill.
They do what you have to do when down this far at 15 minutes. They form a death ball. That is all they have going for them. The composition is a death ball. Nothing else matters. There is no gold on the map other than one pick when 5 of you are there to commit for it. Bot lane loses turrets. It loses like 3 waves for that one as well. And they only really get that because Dragku fully commits himself into the face of 5 Mammoth members. I don't know how many of them he saw at that moment, but...
All right, well... The Dustblade just picked up by Frosts, the first item, at the same time as the second item is being completed for Mboma. So that tells a bit of a story in itself. Across the rest of the map, there isn't too much hope for Mammoth, unfortunately. 0 on 5 in mid. I mean, 2 and 2 for Frosts. He's not doing too poorly for himself, all things considered, but the bleed has just been way too strong from the start of the game. 2 minutes still left on the Dragon, so a bit of breathing room for Mammoth at least.
It's just a case of like, ultimately the level 1 means a big deal. Mammoth are the type of team where they are raw and unrefined, right? I think we can all acknowledge that. But if they get a lead, then it feels like it's a winnable game. But any time that we've seen Mammoth fall behind early, and stats would be skewed, so I don't want to use them as an example on this, but like if they fall behind early, it really does feel like their chances to get back into the game are limited. And even though their victories with a lead at 10 minutes is probably still low given their standings, they've looked significantly better.
Here comes Swaith once again. Not sure that he's going to commit to much, but he's always prowling. Lift has managed to get on top of Wei despite the fact that there's a blast cone there. It might not be enough to save him. The ultimate was infested. Lived really wanted that kill, and he got it. Was at the cost of his own life, but hey, I guess what does it really matter? 1-for-1s at this point in the game. Could be worse as far as Chiefs are concerned, especially when Kisei is getting so much work done in the top lane.
Yeah, Kisei gets the solo there up to 8 stacks now on that Dark Seal. Probably going to get a Medjai's for himself also. Swaith. Uh-oh.
Interesting.
No flash. Has the cone. Oh, he'll be thankful. Oh, he'll be thankful.
Would Shinky have even had the damage to kill him? Doesn't have ult, doesn't have Ignite.
No Ignite. Maybe not.
I actually think Swaith might have lived there, even if that hook connects. At least for the foreseeable future until someone else ran in to help him out, but... I mean, this is bad news, isn't it? Right? When your Gnar is getting full to zeroed by LeBlanc.
Yeah. Once the chains were on, you're not really going to be able to flash your way out of there as well. Nectar, as sad as it is, probably just needed to accept that reality. The flash was a bit wasted, and he might have wanted that for a later date. But still, Kisei gets himself another little solo. Is sitting pretty. Between him and Swaith, they've had pretty much absolute control over most of the map, and we had the 2-0 Sivir at level 1. That has been a little bit too oppressive for Frost and for Shinky to deal with down in bottom lane. And look, now we've got a lane assignment where at least Wei gets to farm. Nothing really else from it. The goal difference is insurmountable.
I love that you're still looking at the positives.
I'm trying.
How about this? 3 versus 1 for Kisei. Can he do it? Well, he's going to give it a crack. Nectar dies. Oh, he got deleted. And Kisei gets out alive. Easy as you like.
Meanwhile, bottom.
Yeah, meanwhile, bottom.
1-7.
You were saying about that the farm that Wei could get.
If your team all goes top lane and shows themselves, Wei probably shouldn't even be at the turret. Yep. Dies for that one. Chiefs just a little bit too good is my takeaway from this game.
So who gets player of the delivered out of this one, to be honest? Like, could be anyone. Probably not Liv, probably not Dragku. You know, is it too early to say that? I don't think so.
Gee, well, I mean, probably mid or jungle, right?
Maybe.
If we were to pick, of course, we don't get a say in it. It's the big
It's up to
machine.
Mac. Max the boss, what he says goes.
Just be glad none of you heard what just happened in our ears.
What about Mboma? You know, I feel like Mboma's been hard done by this entire split. He hasn't gotten a single one.
Yeah, he could do with one.
He's 3-0-2. He
Doesn't it-
has the largest shutdown gold.
Doesn't
Therefore,
it
he
feel
must
like
be the best
sympathy
player.
though?
Yeah, kinda.
Like, I
But
don't.
so does giving Kiyosei the player that delivered in that match earlier today. You know? Only's probably spitting fire at that.
Aw, only was complimenting him a fair bit, even in the interview. You got to respect it.
Of
I think
course.
Mboma's okay. Mboma is solid. So, I think the issue is when do we justify Mboma over other people, or when does Mac justify Mboma over other people when he is solid and they are like the star of the show? Now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, I mean, he can deliver. But again, you look at Swaith and you see what he's doing. You think maybe he's also doing a pretty good one for himself. Helped out Liv. Gets another kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the waves just continue to crash under the tower. Kisei looking for another kill here. Might just get it. Kudo hit by that chain. It's a nice preemptive depth charge from Shinky. Keeps his jungler alive.
Yeah, it does actually force Kisei away. I think the wind become lightning, being able to hit there, and the challenge dash could have got him over the wall.
Well, here we go again. Swaith looking for a tower knife now. So too is Lived. Wants to get himself in that player that delivered discussion. Won't be able to. Dragku saving Swaith with the chomp.
Watch those Sivir bounces away. A little bit too dicey there, but look, everyone survives. Mammoth will get to reset. Wei decides that he needs to stay just to clear those couple of extra minions before he walks all the way back to base. Nobody dead. And that is the biggest win that I think we've had.
Yeah, but it's a slow death. It's not a fast death for Mammoth, it's a slow death. They're being strangled of all of their resources. The entire jungle belongs to the Chiefs, Dragon Pit, the Baron Pit, and really all of the money that Mammoth can get is from the waves and any potential kill that they can get. And faster and faster and faster falling behind.
Okay, here's what I'd do if I
Okay.
was Mammoth.
I'm ready.
Because I don't think in a competitive game you want to surrender, right? Like you want to consistently play the game out.
Sure.
You lose bot inhibitor. Don't even go there. Just play 2 lanes, and then farm that inhibitor. Yeah. Because one mistake that people make in competitive league is they take an inhibitor too early, and they give you free farm for X amount of minutes to catch up into the game. Literally just lose your inhibitors. I can't think of anything else that'll help get them into this game, if I'm going to be honest. Steal Baron, play for the steal, and lose an inhibitor. I don't like talking like that.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, there isn't really anything else you can say at this point, though, is that Mammoth are going to have to pull a rabbit or maybe 3 out of the hat. Swaith again lurking around. Just looking for any cheeky angle he can get. Doesn't really need to be doing anything at the moment, waiting for that wave to push into bot, and that once again might be the end of wave. Well, now he's been spotted out. The Inferno Bomb goes through, but Swaith grabs himself the solo kill. And Wei's he's just wondering, what can I even do? What can I do?
Not a lot.
What am I allowed to do?
Even less. 21 Magi stacks as well for Swaith. I'm surprised Kisei didn't go for his Soul Stealer before he went for the needlessly large rod, but I guess he's going to take the safe option here. That is... yeah.
Not sure really what to say about it at this point, Rusty. Swaith might actually die, but Dragku's picked him back up. The shield keeps him alive, and in the end, the turnaround is there. Kisei loses his life. And with that, any hope of getting the play that delivered. Surely now it has to be between Swaith and Mboma.
Feeling that way also. You've got the one death now. Sorry, second death of the game for Kisei. These two just unrelenting in mid as well. It feels like, again, we are just going to knock on the front door until it gets broken down. And perhaps... Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot from Mboma. That is a player that delivered shot if I've ever seen one.
I can't argue with that one.
Snipes
Jordan.
him out of the air.
Yeah, hit his buttons, played his champion out expertly.
Yep.
Did what we can only dream of doing.
You ever played Team Fortress 2?
More than you perhaps know.
Yeah, you know what a MIDI is?
A MIDI.
Yeah, where you hit a rocket on someone that's in midair.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I feel like that's what Mboma just did. He hit a MIDI onto Wei, except it was with a boomerang blade. But
I actually played on a, I won't go on this tangent for too long, but amateur team for TF2. We tried going competitive.
yeah, me too.
There you go. What'd you play?
So, I was a medic. Anyway, I think Mammoth are in need of a medic at the moment because they're once again being collapsed upon by the Chiefs. Swaith almost dies, very nearly dies, but survives, and Kisei gets himself a clean double.
Probably going to look for the rest of the kills here as well. Why go for Baron when the kills are on
Nectar!
offer? Ooh.
Nectar's going to make a play! He wants to be the player that delivered what a Mega Inferno Bomb on top of it all as well. That was the first thing that looked fantastic for Mammoth this game. But I don't know that it's going to be enough to dig them out of this hole. Dragku goes low. Frost's still surviving somehow. Swaith actually misses the ulti onto Wei, and he gets out alive. Nectar, however, will not. But the bomb, it bounces on top of Swaith, gets the better of him. And did I say Wei was going to get out alive? I lied. He's dead as well. Everyone's dead. Mammoth is gone, and so is the inhibitor.
Yeah, that was, what, the closest fight of the game there. Liv tries to use the Ziggs satchel charge. Clearly not a mid laner, however, as he uses it way too early. And Viego is the form that he's going to take as he goes back to the jungle. That was by far the closest fight we've had this game. And you can see that reflected through the damage dealt. You've got a big performance there from Wei, some good damage from Frost, but really, it was just Nectar hitting a massive ultimate and Chiefs just being too far ahead that they did just slap them extremely hard with the wallet after.
Yeah, that was a sick ulti by Nectar. That was like a game-winning ulti in any other situation, but when they're that far behind, really not too much to be done. Look at Kisei's damage.
Yeah, it's a really gross double.
It's like almost one-shotting a Nautilus.
That maybe was an electrocute that secured the second one here as well. Nectar, again, this is nice. You've got a Ziggs and a Varus, so it's actually a really, like, for them, it's the perfect combo.
Yeah.
Swaith on this flank as well knows he was spotted, so it doesn't sit there and try and regenerate any health, and does actually, just miss that ult here from the flash out away. And then 1,000 gold into the pockets away. He's got his death cap.
Oh, they might have found a pick here onto Dragku as well. Now Kisei and Swaith are both there. Oh my god, the demolition. It's like a nuclear bomb went off on top of Mammoth. They just disappeared. And Shinky's going to go down as well. You thought for a moment maybe Dragku was going to die, but alas, Mammoth do not have the fattest wallet in this game.
And Chiefs decide that the free inhibitor is not worth it. Swaith decides to go for a 1v1, while the rest of his team, 3 of them, decide to go for Baron and live this split pushing bottom. They're losing to the Baron because Swaith decides to go mid and Liv decides to stay bottom.
They're trolling.
But let's not say that they didn't try.
This is like my Plaque games.
They are 100% fighting over scuttle crabs instead of winning this game.
No one knows what they want to do.
You can't tell me otherwise.
Everyone's trying to... Okay, I tell you what's happening actually right now for the Chiefs is they want to make sure... Each individual wants to make sure that they are the player that delivered. So they won't let the game end until they feel they are unequivocally the player that delivered.
I will...
At this point.
I will say... There might be another fight here. It does feel a little bit VM on the Chiefs side here. I'm not a big fan of what I'm seeing. Wei dies again off screen. Like, it's a 17,000 gold lead 30 minutes in, man. They're just keeping us here.
All right, well, let's see if this is going to be where it all ends for Mammoth. Shinky actually gets a nice hook on top of Swaith, locks him down. Kisei is going to try and delete Frost and will be successful in doing so. Can't really imagine that there was any other world that way it would have gone. Nectar does hit the Nara ult on top of Liv, but unfortunately will not have enough damage to follow it up. Shinky also getting blown up by Kisei, who is running around with 25 Magi stacks. Nectar eventually falls as well. That is another ace for the Chiefs.
And they are going to not go for the inhibitor. Tell you what. Not happy.
Yeah, say it,
I'm not happy. They're pissing me off.
Yeah.
I know
think
this
it's
is
fair
a
enough at this point.
professional broadcast, and we're meant to be neutral and be nice, but for the love of God, play the game to win. Stop having fun and keeping us all here when a game is over. It is incredibly disrespectful, and it is actually starting to piss me off.
All right, well, the Chiefs are going to grab themselves the Infernal Soul. Say, with my favorite emote, that's the question mark frog through, and that's the Infernal Soul secured. Take a look back on the replay here, and it is, again, I mean, nicely done from Shinky to get that hook onto an Evelyn. It's not the easiest thing in the world to be doing, to be honest, especially when the Evelyn is that strong.
I mean, they're giving them shutdowns, Jordan. If there's anything that we can hold on to for hope.
Yeah.
Every single time they get one kill to save the 3 or the 4 from Chiefs, they are getting a shutdown. So it's actually an even gold trade, more than anything else. The game continues. They have Infernal Soul.
They do indeed, as if they needed any extra help. Kisei is blowing everyone up. It doesn't matter if you're a Gnar or a Nautilus. It doesn't really matter what items you have. You are dying in one combo from that LeBlanc, even without the Infernal Soul. Now they've got it. So,
Yeah, and
see what Kisei can do.
look, I want to say, you know, what they're going to do next, but they're not doing it. They are going to 2-man Baron this time. It does feel like they will be able to get the Baron. So that will be secured at least this time. And hopefully they play mid and top lane and actually just take inhibitors.
Well, we'll see.
It feels like they're trying to go for the biggest gold lead in a victory.
I'm sure they've already got it, to be honest. 20,000, at least this split. I don't remember anything higher. Nectar goes mega, but that won't really be enough to save any of these inhibitors. Wei is completely caught out once again in the bot lane. That'll be his 14th death of the game. Not much that he can really do in this one, unfortunately, as the Ziggs. There's really only so much you can do, and it seems like the Chiefs have finally decided that it is time to end the game. The third inhibitor is going to go down courtesy of Lived. You say looking for a couple more kills here. And in the end, that is a rather prolonged game from the Chiefs, but they will get themselves the victory. It'll be their 11th in the LCO this split. And Mammoth will be handed their 15th defeat. Of course, it's an important win for the Chiefs, who are looking to ensure that they have a good spot, a good slot and position, I should say, in the playoffs. I think they're pretty much confirmed to make it to playoffs at this point. It's obviously not mathematically just yet, but I think, we look at it and we say that's probably done for them. It's just a question of where exactly they're going to end. Are they going to be on the other side of the bracket? Are they going to have to deal with Pentanet early on in the piece? What are the questions around that? Either way, good win for the Chiefs to pick themselves up there. Obviously, Mammoth, struggling in that one. And let's get Mac back into the conversation, see what he thought about that one. Pretty difficult to choose a player that delivered there, I think.
Yeah, I think, picking the player that delivered is, we could almost just not give it to them because they just didn't end the game, So why don't we just not give them the player that delivered? I think that's pretty on point.
How about we share it?
We could choose. I'll give it to myself, You guys were saying that I'm the one that gets to choose, right? So I've never been told that I have to choose someone that was actually in the game, so I might just do that. What do you reckon?
That sounds good.
Oh, sounds good to me.
I'll back that, Mac.
Yeah, well,
I mean, overall, it was pretty obvious from the outset that Mammoth were struggling, and it was constant bullying on Wei. He was sort of the player that felt like he had the least recourse, Like, he's a Ziggs. You're generally pretty weak as a Ziggs if you're on your own, especially against champions like LeBlanc, champions like Evelyn. So he was kind of easy pickings, right? You could probably say the same for Frost on the Varus, a very, very low mobility kind of AD carry, but at least he's got the Nautilus there to sort of try and help him out and try and keep him alive. So it seemed like, Chiefs kind of came in with a game plan. When they saw that Ziggs, they decided that was where they wanted to find a lot of their advantages, and that certainly was where they did manage to really snowball the lead.
It's nice that they've got the pocket picks that they do as well, though. Like, that is the one thing that you can always say about the Chiefs. Like the Tahm Kench this time, the Evelyn for Swaith every time. It's a thing that they have going for them that no other team can replicate. And similar to Dial's picking their Bard, it's a big factor that they have, particularly as we go into best of 5.
Well, we do have Nat down on the side lanes. Nat, how are you feeling after that one?
Yeah, good. I do have to agree with Rusty, though. It felt like, one of those games where you're sitting in base because you know it's done, and and instead of them just ending the game, they just want to like try and fountain farm you. So it felt a little bit like that, but it was overall a pretty good game to watch. And I'm hoping to jump into an interview with Mboma to ask some more questions about that game. Mboma, congratulations on the win. How does it feel to get that win, and what was the feeling throughout the game and during it?
Yeah, it feels alright to get the win. I don't think it like means too much in the grand scheme of things. I think it was just like a practice game for us. And I think maybe we got a little bit too carried away with it during the game, which was probably wasn't the best. So yeah. So
yeah, we did see a little bit of that, but I want to ask about the draft. We saw Tom Kench go support, which is the first time we've seen it since his rework. What was the reasoning behind that one, and how was it to play with him in the lane as support?
I think we're just trying out Tom Kench at the moment. I think it's pretty strong in support as well. So Draku really wanted to play it today, so we kind of gave him a Tom Kench game. I'm not sure about that champion. I think it has pretty good early stats, but it gets outscaled. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. I like new things in the game for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. There was a time in the game around the 28-minute mark. We saw you guys try and take Baron with only 3 players, while Swaith and Lived are doing something else. I want to know like the reasoning behind the team splitting up so much instead of kind of just going for the end there during the game.
I think we sort of realized like Baron was like hard to do that comp, and like we can really do it as 3, and then everyone sort of wants to like pick people. So it was like this weird thing where we didn't have, unless like Liv was gonna come, we didn't really have anyone to tank Baron, and then we were trying to call like let's get Baron and end, but then we were sort of having some fun. So yeah, it was a bit weird. I think Siva finds it hard to do Baron as well. So we thought the only way we could lose was giving them Baron, so we sort of just played for Soul and then closed the game out like that, I guess, because like Zigzag stealing Baron or something would probably give them the win. So it was it was a pretty weird game in that sense.
Yeah, a little bit. But look, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me, and congratulations again on the win.
Thanks, Nat.
There you have it. So split decision making seems to be the answer there. People just wanting to do a little bit of trolling, it seems. So let's see how that goes. However, we all got our predictions correct, so that's congratulations, 50, Rusty. Rusty 50.
Nice.
Didn't really have a ring to it, does it?
No, it doesn't. I'll just take that I'm winning still.
My cat is on my desk if you guys would like a little surprise.
Hey, kitty.
Is that Peter or Parker?
This is Peter. He liked to crawl on my desk a lot, so now he gets picked up as punishment.
He's doing the eye thing. That's so
Yeah.
cute. Oh, it's so
He's
cute.
like, I don't want to be touched.
I'll tell you who else is cute.
Yep, I'm
Me?
listening.
Well, I wasn't going to say you, Jordan. I was actually going to say Mboma. Just doing so good in the interviews every single time. And not dying that game. 6-0-9. He is the DoorDash player that delivered, so he's going to be taking home 100 buckaroonies to spend on DoorDash. Get himself fed, not only in the bot lane, but in his tum-tum too. And Rusty, look, there's a lot of numbers here. You in a bad mood, but you do like numbers, don't you? Hopefully this can cheer you up.
How'd you know I'm in a bad mood, Mac?
No idea.
What gave that away? No, look, Mboma definitely played well. Level 1 gave him so much, made his job pretty easy playing the Siva. So honestly, just it's about damn time is what I will say. I think Mboma has been pretty solid this split, even compared to last split. His results have been night and day, because it's not just surviving lane, it's prospering more than that. So I think he did need himself a player that delivered.
Yeah, it's just being solid on the weak side, just happily staying safe, staying alive, not feeding, not losing, and he does such a good job doing that. Now, we do have one more game coming up, which is going to be Legacy and Order, so we'll discuss that one after the break, but I'm excited to get into that one. We need to update this graphic, by the way, production. I see Cat Jam and Rat Jam, but no Mac Jam there, so I just want that to be known that we could also Mac Jam in chat. I know a lot of people have been enjoying it tonight, so I'm happy about that one. But look, I think it's time for a break. So Legacy and Order coming up just after this. Enjoy this one from Warner as we Mac Jam our way into the final match of the night.
How about this? 3 versus 1 for Kisei. Can he do it? Well, he's going to give it a crack. Nectar dies. Oh, he got deleted. And Kisei gets out alive.
Probably going to look for the rest of the kills here as well. Why go for Baron when the kills are on
Nectar!
offer?
Nectar's going to make a play. He wants to be the player that delivered. What a Mega Inferno Bomb on top of it all as well.
He's got his death cap.
Oh, they might have found a pick here onto Draku